Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 4, and today we're taking a look at the 1958 Austin-Healey Sprite Mk1. Now the Austin-Healey Sprite was produced between 1958 and 1971, with this Mark 1 version being produced between 1958 and 1961, and it was affectionately known as the Frog Eye Sprite in the UK and the Bug Eye Sprite in the US, owing to its raised headlights. And this was the first mass-produced sports car to use unitary construction, which is basically where the sheet metal body panels, except for the bonnet, take many of the structural stresses of the vehicle. And this car had many different parts taken from other BMC models. For instance, the engine was derived from the Austin A35 and Morris Minor 1000, but it was upgraded with 1 1/8 inch carburetors. The rack and pinion steering was from the same Morris Minor 1000, and the front suspension was also from the Austin A35. So kind of a hodgepodge of different parts from different vehicles, to be honest. And that engine, despite being knit from other vehicles, was obviously upgraded, like I said. And that produces 45 horsepower and 52 pounds-feet of torque from a 948cc inline 4 engine, which is pretty microscopic compared to engines of today. And very little in the way of horsepower as well. But thankfully they went for quite a simple approach to this vehicle, meaning that it only weighs 1,463 pounds. So even though it has very little in the way of horsepower, it also has very little in the way of weight to carry around. Owing to the fact that it doesn't even have door handles on the outside, you have to reach into the interior to get the doors open. It doesn't even have a rear bonnet, which wasn't just in terms of keeping the weight down, but also to keep the structure integrally intact, because it was to keep it as rigid as possible. They had to keep it as one whole sheet of metal at the rear. And it's also a car that might well be basic, but it was quite cheap as well. At the time it cost about £678. When you look at a similarly lightweight and decently powerful sports car from that same year in the MG twin cam, that cost nearly twice as much, and that car had more reliability issues and as well as obviously costing more, also weighed more as well. So a pretty damn good looking car, to be honest, I think. And it's got that kind of like cutesy kind of thing, this small car, small cute looks, and easy to get used to, etc., because there really isn't very much in terms of interior. You have to pull the front seats forward to get to the boot, and as you can see, very little in terms of extras in here whatsoever. You've got all the dials you need, but you've got no radio, you've got no heater, and very basic dials, but they are white on black dials, which I always like. And that simplicity does obviously mean it's easy to use and also lightweight, so not much in the way of weight to carry around, meaning that it handles a little bit better than it would do if it was heavier, brakes better, and obviously can manage to accelerate decently despite that lack of power. So let's get out there and see what it can do. So such a lack of power obviously means that this is not the fastest accelerate car in the world. In fact, it's probably one of the slowest cars on the game, owing to the fact that it can only do 0 to 60 in 20.878 seconds, cannot reach 100 miles an hour as its top speed is 89 miles an hour. But if you get onto a downhill section, you will obviously get faster than that, because gravity sure as hell does help with a car like this. But 89 is really all you're going to get up to on a flat part of road, and you need a hell of a road to actually get up to that kind of speed, because it does take quite a while. Handling wise, it's okay, but the faster you go, the worse it gets, quite frankly, because it has a weird handling setup that provokes understeer and oversteer seemingly at the same time, which I know seems weird, but it does seem to understeer into a corner, and then the rear end will break loose once that understeer gets too much, which can, at times make it a little bit hairy. But at the end of the day, you're really not going to be getting up to that kind of speed, because it does take a while to get there. And if you compare it to the MGA, which I was talking about earlier, which was released in the same year as this, which has a lot more power at 63 horsepower more, 52 pounds-feet of torque more, and yeah, it's a lot quicker to 60 at 13.3 seconds, and will do 109 miles an hour. Now granted, that MGA, like I said, cost nearly twice as much as this, and it also had reliability issues. It had a detonation occurring in the engine, and it would also burn quite a lot of oil as well, owing to the high compression ratio that it had to get that kind of power out of it. So yeah, even though that MG is a lot quicker and actually a lot nicer to drive, had way more problems than this, and obviously cost more as well. So there is that to take in respect. But obviously in terms of this game, that doesn't really matter. So yeah, the MGA is a better bet if you want a late 50s classic British sports car. But I'm still glad this is in the game. It is a car that we've not had in a Forza game for a long time now. I think Forza Motorsport 4 was the last time it was introduced. So I am glad it's back, because it does add variety. It is a classic British car nonetheless, and it is still generally some fun to drive, even if there is better vehicles out there to drive from either from the period or from in the 60s or even the 70s, because yeah, MG certainly did a better job at sports cars in terms of the ones that are on this game. The MGB GT and obviously the MGA being a lot quicker than this, even if they had real life problems. Nonetheless, still an enjoyable car to drive, and is a good cruising vehicle as well, because yeah, it's not quick enough to really challenge you or its handling, so you can just sit back and enjoy it really, and enjoy the scenery and the environment of the game in general. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.